Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to deliver specific messages for the month of Shravan, for this particular month of August specifically. And I also have it's more like a guidance video for the collective of what you need to know and what you need to do in this month of Shravan. It's going to be pretty short, and I'm just going to give a few, you know, some. It's just more of like a guidance video for the collective, is what I'm getting. So that's all, and we'll begin. So, as we know, that this month is pretty intense, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can feel the energies of this month. Personally, that's what I feel. So, what I want to, what I feel from this, the energies of the collective is that a lot of people, you know overthink a lot, are going through some mental turmoil in their lives, and I feel like a lot of mental peace is being affected, is what I sense. So what the messages for you are pretty simple. I've written it down, and whatever just came in for the collective, I wrote it down, and I'm going to speak it to you. So firstly, the most important, guidance for this collective is Nam Jap. It You can either do, a Likhit Japa. A lot of people, you know, practice Likhit Japa, because a lot of people usually, while they're practicing the japa or doing Nam Jap, what a lot of people tend to, you know get distracted. So a lot of people practice Likhit Japa. So Likhit Japa is mostly to slow you down. Okay, it's going to rewire your brain. So slows you down. It doesn't take a lot of time. You can just write Shivji's name at least 108 times, 108 times, sorry. Or if you can't do that, at least start small. um at least say his name for like 11 times, 21 times, 108 times, specifically for this collective. Please make sure it doesn't take a lot of brain power and a lot of time to practice Likhi Japa or just Nam Jap in general. Please make sure you're spending at least 5 to 10 minutes of it. It doesn't take a lot of time, so I hope you can at least spend 5 to 10 minutes of your day to get closer to your deity. I hope you can do that, because it's pretty necessary, because Sawan is just not a random month. It's just not some random month. It's a month of deep, deep transformation. So, of course, if you want to, attain the benefits, you have to make sure and, make progress in your spiritual journey to attain the benefits. Also, for a lot of people, you can write a letter to Shivji every day in your journal. It doesn't have to be a very long, a very long message or a long, long letter for your deity, but you can spend at least 5 to 10 minutes of your day, as I mentioned earlier, after the Nam Jap or before the Nam Jap. You can, write a letter to Shivji. You can express your gratitude. You can express your love towards your deity. At least spend a few minutes of your time, you know, expressing the love you have for him, because God doesn't require all your, gold and riches and money and all that. Just taking his name is enough for him. So please make sure you at least remember him at the end of the day, that you are being protected, you are guided by him. So please do not forget to express your gratitude towards Shivji. Also, please make sure you embrace silence for at least 10 minutes to 20 minutes at least, because it's not a lot of effort, but like it's very important to sit still with yourself, or you could just meditate. But even if you don't want to meditate, and if you have a hard time meditating, what you can do is just lie down on your bed or your couch, whatever, and you can just stare at the ceiling for 20 minutes without your phone, without your gadgets, without anything else. You can just listen to the voice of nature, observe things around you. It's not a lot of effort. That's what I feel. But please make sure you're spending time with yourself and spending time with your deity. This month of Sawan is more like making you surrender to God, making you surrender to Shivji, also losing control over outcomes. I also feel like a lot of people have a tendency in this collective have a tendency to control outcomes. Okay, so what you are asked to do is you are asked to surrender. Just simple as that. You're asked to not force outcomes or control outcomes. Please make sure that you try your best, but at the end of the day, you need to surrender yourself and your situation to God. It's all His will. So please practice surrendering. I feel like a lot of people have, this tendency to control outcomes, which, makes them feel disheartened at the end of the day if things do not end up going their way. So make sure you do your best, and at the end of the day you also surrender to the divine, and make sure and obviously ask for guidance if you feel blocked, if you feel like something in your way is just blocked and you feel like there is no way out. You're asked to ask for guidance, because definitely if you are a Shiv Bhakt or you're Bhakt of any deity, obviously your only rescuer and the only one who can show you the direct and the correct path is your deity. That's what I feel. And I feel like a lot of people should know this. There is no way without your God. So if you have, yeah, I feel like a lot of people in this collective have a tendency to, you know, try to make things in their own way, or try a different path which they know that it's not meant for them, but you still end up trying to you know I don't know, but like I feel like a lot of people in this collective are highly intuitive, and what is good for you and what is wrong for you. I feel like your instincts, your gut already tells you what needs to be done, but I feel like a lot of people fail to follow that. So you're asked to listen to your gut and do not ignore your intuition. Please do not ignore that. Also, what I'm getting for this collective is that you lack a lot of consistency towards your spiritual practice and your sadhana. I feel like a lot of you just go off track and you're like, I'll see this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow. You wait for tomorrow, but your tomorrow never comes. So I feel like you really need to track your practice, even if it's not you know a very long and you know I know it's like something, it's sometimes really boring to do something every day again and again, but you are supposed to do things sometimes even if you don't want it, right? Because everything comes with a cost, and I feel like you expect outcomes. I feel like you expect really great outcomes, really good outcomes without doing the work. I feel like a lot of people are really inconsistent with their habits, with their practices, whether it's in their spiritual journey or in the life in general. Maybe you have a lot of pending assignments as well, pending projects, a lot of piled up pending work is what I feel. And your to-do list is filled with stuff, but and you're like, and you feel like you're not in the correct headspace to work, and you are like, I'll do this tomorrow, but your tomorrow never really comes. So what I want you to bring in life this Savan is a lot of discipline. Even if it's even if you don't want to do it, but like take like small and steady steps to work towards your goal, because obviously if you want something in life, you have to, you know, give up a few comfort. A, a lot of a lot of people in this collective like to live in their comfort zone so much that they forget the tasks, which is very wrong. Because I mean, what is wrong with you? Because how come you expect a certain outcome without doing the work? I know that at some point you have to surrender to the divine and surrender to the highest good and the higher whoever is above you. But at the end of the day, you also have to do your work and do what you're supposed to do, right? So I feel like a lot of people ignore their daily tasks, daily routine. So what I want you to do this, Savan, is not only have a balanced life, but also a daily spiritual practice is what I want you to practice. Like a daily, spiritual practice, even if it's nam jap or, you know, just taking his name, or just your puja rituals, or whatever you feel called. Um, you're asked to do that. Plus, also do your daily tasks. Finish your assignments, your projects, whatever you have in your mind. Please make sure you're doing it. Because I feel like a lot of people feel guilty at the last moment, and you feel like, oh, I should have, done that earlier. Why didn't I finish it earlier? And I feel like you feel really guilty. So, how about you just finish your work earlier and, just not feel guilty about it later? So I really want you to think about this particular, message which I just delivered. Please ask yourself that, what is going wrong in your routine? Do I need to wake up early for this? Or, do I need to sacrifice some amount of time of my, you know, I feel like a lot of people just scroll in bed and do nothing. I feel like that's what you were doing right now, and then you ended up finding my video. I don't know, but like a lot of people are, like really lazy. I mean, it's really fine to take rest, especially this month has I don't know, a lot of heavy energies from whether it's the 88 portal, the Lionsgate portal, or the new moon, the Amavasya, or the solar eclipse, and now again we have a lunar eclipse, and then the upcoming full moon. A lot of, occasions, a lot of things happening this month, because August is not just a random month, right? So I really want you to think about it and make sure you're utilizing your time and utilizing this Savan for not just to attain mental peace and clarity, but also turn inwards and seeing what needs to be changed, what needs to be released, what needs to let go, and what things do I need to bring in my life, what practices should I input in my spiritual journey to elevate my spiritual journey, right? So a lot of um you know you need to not only connect with your deity. I feel like you need to come back home. Is the sentence what I'm getting? Come back home. Come back home is not just your home, the place you live in, but come back home is come back to your soul, come back to the reality, come back to what you are, come back and realize what you are supposed to do in your life. I feel like a lot of people now, it's pretty specific for the collective, and it's not for a lot of people, but I feel like it has something to do with, you know, the past life. I usually don't say all this in my readings, but I don't know why it just came through. So I think I need to deliver this. Is that I feel like you were, have done several spiritual practices in your past life. I feel like um I don't know how to mention this, but I feel like you have done a lot of, I think you had really somewhere in your past life, I feel like you and your connection with the divine and the connection with your spiritual journey was really really strong, and I feel like it's a calling to go back home. The calling to go back home is to connect with your deity and to elevate your spiritual journey and your spiritual practices, is what I'm getting. So I feel like it's, if you have been practicing, if you have a spiritual practice or a ritual, or just daily puja rituals is what you do. I don't know, I'm just, I feel like you have a practice. I feel like, wait, so many messages. See, what I feel is, I feel like a lot of people here have either stopped their practice, is first, secondly, or it's for the people who have, who are just lazy in their practice, and they just sometimes want to do their practice, sometimes they don't, sometimes they are, I don't know, the connection with your divine, with the divine and you is just on and off. It's really inconsistent, and I feel like you should really connect back and go back to your roots, right? That's why the sentence kept on coming, go back, come back to your home. So your spiritual journey, your connection with the divine is your true home, is your true mission in this life, is what I feel. I feel like you connecting with yourself, the divine, is, holds a lot of importance for you. So I really want you to upgrade your practice, elevate your practice, or practice what just practice now, or intensify your spiritual practices, is what I'm getting. Also, you're asked to wear more of light colors, blue, yeah, obviously blue, why not? And green. The specific colors are green, blue, and yellow. You should wear more of them, more of these colors, because try to wear cool toned clothes, or just wear light colored clothes. Don't try, wear black, blue, or brown colors. Avoid them as much as possible. I'm not saying you to avoid them completely, but avoid them as much as possible, is what I'm getting. Also, you're asked to donate. Like, it doesn't have to be a really huge sum of amount. Whatever you can, whatever is, within your capacity, how much ever you want to donate, please make sure you donate. Doesn't really have to be a specific day, but Mondays can be a really great time, because it's the month of Shravan. So Mondays hold a really specific, importance this month of Shravan. Also, fasting on Mondays can be highly, recommended for you. I feel like a lot of people this Shravan are fasting as well. I feel like you are trying to put in efforts, but this Shravan, I feel like this pile, wants to put efforts and are willing to put in efforts, but the inconsistency and laziness is the reason why you fail to, you know, finish your tasks and your what you're asked to do, right? And then you end up feeling guilty about it. So please make sure you're utilizing this month for your best, not for anyone. You're not here to perform, you're not here to fast for, you know, not just what um personally, this is a personal opinion, okay? I have this, when you fast, you know Savan, like when a few people, like, what people have this notion or this thinking that you are fasting to, have a really good husband, like, Shivji, or have a wife like Parvati. Okay, fine, that is there. But I feel like, fasting and, upgrading your spiritual practices this Shravan is not only, just to, make your love life a little better, but it's the connection between you and divine. It, makes this connection even more sacred, even more pure, right? The connection with the divine is more important than connection with anyone else. So a lot of people who have this notion of fasting for someone, or, you know that is there, that is fine, but it's okay. But when you are doing certain spiritual practices, when you are in a spiritual journey, I feel like you should focus on how to, you know elevate your relationship with the divine, with because at the end of the day we all die. And it sounds really, you know harsh, but a real a little sad as well, but it's the truth that we are mortal beings and we are supposed to die. We are given a specific list and we are supposed to fulfill them in this life, right? And to attain moksha is our actual, specific goal in life, right? And a lot of people get really distracted from their true goal, is what I'm getting. So I feel like this collective, as the word distraction came, I feel like this collective is really distracted, as I mentioned earlier as well, inconsistent, lazy. Now, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about yourself. Okay, please don't think that I'm trying to make you feel bad about yourself. It's just things you really need to work on, right? Rest is obviously a priority. Rest is obviously necessary for everyone, right? But making sure that you also track your practices, also your daily routine, and also rest is the perfect balance, right? So this month you're asked to balance your life, balance your routine. Please make sure. I feel like a lot of people wake up late or sleep late. I feel like your sleep schedule is really in a poor condition for this collective. It's not for everyone, but like specific people. Okay, so what I feel is you really need to check your routine, check your practices, check what you're doing, and also consume. Also, when you're fasting, you are not just asked to fast, like just eat fruits, or, also when you fast on Mondays or on specific days, this Shravan, it's not only about, eating fruits like falhar and or just nirjala vrat. It's not just about eating habits. It's also about, the type of content you consume, the type of music you listen to, the type of conversations you have with people. If you're gossiping, you're, you know I don't mean to say the word bitching, but if you're, talking behind someone's back, fasting won't really help you. Yeah, it's this the month of Shravan is not just some random month again. It's a really holy month. So please make sure of the when you're, trying to eat well, when you're trying so hard to please your deity. So you should also make sure that you are not consuming such, or you're just not keeping yourself in a toxic environment. Also, I feel like a lot of people um will have this when people are gossiping around you, or speaking like, or disrespecting people in any form or any way, I feel like you will feel really, icked out by their behavior. I feel like you will not like it, you will not entertain it. If someone tries to, gossip with you, or, you know, tries to tries to, talk behind someone's back with you, and you are like, oh, I just want to get out of here, I don't want to do this, and you will feel a shift of change in your energy. It's, what I'm getting. I feel like Shivji is trying to protect you from toxic environment, right? Because you used to also engage in such conversations and engage in, drama, engage yourself in such conversations. I feel like slowly and steadily, I feel like Shivji is taking out such people out from your life. And that's beautiful, because this is exactly what the month of Shravan is all about: goodness, purity, and devotion, right? And I feel like you are stepping to what you actually are supposed to become. Okay, the month of July is very significant. I don't know why. July, August is very significant for you. And I feel like, yes, I feel like you have started to feel this shift and change since the month of July itself. Right. And you were feeling this, and you had some sort of, you felt detached from the people around you, either it's your family, your friends. You had this sort of, you felt like you don't belong here, is what I'm getting. So and I love how this reading is actually aligning with what I started with earlier. As I said, the sentence, come back home, is that the people you are slowly realizing. And I feel like if you have not realized yet, but I feel like by this end, by the end of Shravan and by the end of August, you will realize that, you know, people around you are not going to give you liberation, are not going to help you, you know, at, at some point it will, at some point it's going to, the people around you, I feel like you realize the fact that people around you are just, you know, lessons. Yeah. Like, now not every connection is karmic, okay? When I use the term karmic, I feel like not every connection, not every person is a, a karmic connection or a karmic bond. But I feel like you are realizing that people, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, are here to teach you certain lessons in life, certain karmic lessons in life, certain, you are understanding why people are actually necessary. I feel like you have tried to, you know practice detachment since a long long time, and you were like, how do you practice detachment? You were trying to, because now I'll tell you, because the thing is, you were trying to practice detachment from the, feeling of hurt, from the feeling of, feeling empty, because you felt like, what's the point of relationships when you will end up getting hurt, right? So you try to practice detachment from the feeling of feeling hurt. And this is what is, this mindset of yours is going to alter by the end of, the month of Shravan. You are going to practice detachment by feeling whole. Okay, you're not going to feel empty. You will realize the value of connections, and also, teach yourself the, a certain, how to actually balance a connection in your life, and also balance a connection with yourself. I feel like you have lost yourself, you might have, or in previous connections, whether it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be platonic, or, in just any friendships or family members. I feel like you have given so much, and in that process of giving to people, I feel like you have, you had lost yourself. This is why you're asked to come back home. You're asked to, because the connection with your, spirit guides, your deities, is the only connection which you should crave, right? You're not going to crave a connection with someone anymore. Like, even if you, now when I say crave a connection with someone anymore, of course you're going to have connections with people in your life, because you're a human after all. You are not supposed, you're not here to live alone, right? You're supposed to, be in a certain community and still have, a, what I'm getting from this collective is, you have lost yourself in the process of, you have lost yourself in the process of loving someone so much that you don't know how to come back to yourself. And this month of Shravan, I feel like you're coming back finally to where you're supposed to, and strengthen the connection with your divine. That's the only message for you throughout the reading, right? And when you come back to that, and when you realize that this is the actual point of life, this is what life is about, because relationships are here to teach you certain things, are supposed to, make you learn certain lessons, whether it's from past life, whether it's in this life as well. You are here to learn, you are here to evolve, you are here to grow. And it's beautiful because I feel like you were trying to detach yourself from the feeling of lack, from the feeling of being empty. Now you're whole. Now you will start feeling like yourself again. You will have connections around you, and you will, connect with people, you know, not with the feeling of lack, not with the feeling of wanting to feel loved 24 by 7. Not, you're okay with not, getting back what you desired. I mean, when I say that your expectations are going to go down from people. You are not going to expect anything from someone. You are here to form a connection. If you're trying to form a connection, whether it's in love or, you know friendships, or else, or, for some people, if you want to have new friends, or if, you just want a new group of people in your life, you're not going to connect with them with the feeling of lack, feeling like, walking on eggshells the entire time. You're going to be like, I'm safe, I'm fine, and even if they leave me, it's still fine. I'm going to find a new bunch of people again, and even if I don't, I have myself. And that's beautiful, because a lot of people these days, specifically these days, don't realize that people don't, acknowledge their presence. And I feel like you are finally doing that. And that's great. That's absolutely amazing, because this is what Shiv tries to teach us, right? Shiva is, destruction, is the god of destruction of ego. And, he asks us to practice detachment from not the feeling of feeling lack, from not the feeling of feeling empty, but being whole, and, having people around you, having connections, healthy connections. You are going to have healthy connections in your life, and not the kind where you used to be anxious the entire time. When are they going to leave me? When are they going to stop talking? You're not going to feel that way anymore, because you will realize your self-worth, your presence, you will realize how much your presence actually matters, and that's great. So that's all. I hope I'll just pull out a few cards for you. So by the end of the month of Shravan, I feel like you are going to finally feel satisfied with your life, right? Because you will start balancing your practices, your spiritual practices, and elevate your spiritual practices, and also upgrade your routine. I feel like you are going to, upgrade your sleep cycle. I feel like you have a very poor schedule, as I mentioned. So you are going to also maintain that. A lot of people are, you know, are going to be interested to do yoga, meditation. I feel like you will find a sense of calm and peace when you meditate, when you sit down with yourself and just do nothing. And I, whatever I've just mentioned, I feel like what I feel throughout the reading is, um, what when I started this reading, I felt the energies, like your energies, that you are currently overthinking. You're you have a brain fog. Like currently, if you're watching this, or if you have been feeling like this since the end of July. Okay, that's why I mentioned that July is pretty significant. I feel like you had been feeling, you had a terrible month, probably. Um, you felt really your emotions were scattered. It was anywhere and everywhere and not on the right place. Also, so this is why I feel like you are actually coming back home. It's still coming, throughout the entire reading. I feel like this sentence is pretty necessary for you, and it's a motivation for you, to come back to your, you know come back to the connection with the divine, right? So what I feel is, as I mentioned, that your emotions were all over the place, you were overthinking a lot. Okay, and slowly you are trying to find, and mid August you are going to find a, way to control your anger. I don't know why I said that. I feel like a lot of people in this pile also have anger issues. Maybe not for everyone, but if you do have anger issues, this is, I feel like you are going to slow down. You are going to, you know, you're s- you're in the process of healing. Okay, now since this is the month of transformation, now you're going to, explore. Now you're going to have fun. Now you're going to live your life a little, in a fun way. You're going to explore new things, and you're not going to force outcomes, and that's amazing. That's amazing. You're just living with the flow of life. Also, with, not only you're just not flowing away with the flow, but you're also maintaining your discipline. Amazing. I'm really happy for whoever is watching this. I'm really happy for you. And by the end of this month, you will actually, I feel like by this time, why I mentioned connections is, I feel like you're going to either find your soul family, or have, you know, there's this certain person who is going to come in your life. Now, it does not have to be romantic again, it can be anyone. Okay. Um, you might also find a guru. I don't know why I said that. I feel like someone is going to, there's a sort of helping hand. Now, it does not have to be, I feel like someone, it's by the end of August, as you are, evolving your practices and this and that, and, you know, going deeper with yourself, I feel like by the end of this month, Shivji is going to send a helping hand for you, just for you. And when I say by the term helping hand, now it can be for a certain period of time, maybe for a few months, few years, or maybe for the rest of your life. But it does not have a specific time. I'm not getting a specific time for it. But I feel like someone by the end of August or mid September or starting of September, someone is going to come in your life and help you out. And help you out in the sense, he or she will teach you a lot of new things. In whether it's in your spiritual journey, or whether it's the journey of your life. It's going to teach you a lot many things, again, maybe for character development, who knows. A lot of lessons. Okay. So yeah, that's all I have for you, I guess. No more messages. So I hope you noted down everything you had to. That's all I have for you. I have nothing more. That's all. Also, take only what resonates, leave what doesn't. Whatever you feel called to is what will apply for you. And whatever you're meant to, you know, will find your way. So, um, this reading is, it might or may or may not resonate. Now certain things are for certain people because I'm doing a reading for a general, for the general collective and for the people, right? So it doesn't have to resonate with you. If it doesn't, it's absolutely fine. So that's all I have for you. If it resonates, comment, and please make sure by the end of August or by September you watch this video again. Please make sure if things have, if you have progressed how you were supposed to. Please keep track of whatever you're doing, whether it's your daily task. I mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it again. Keep a track. Please keep a journal. Please keep a journal and make sure you're tracking your habits every day. Please make sure what you're doing, and if you're not doing it, please by tomorrow finish it. you know Things will not wait for you, time won't wait for you, time will pass by, it has to. That's the nature of time, and that's how it's supposed to be. Nobody is going to wait for you. So please make sure you're doing what you're called to, what you're asked to. If this is a message divine had to give you, so be it. If this is what you needed, if this is the message you needed to push you for towards your spiritual goal, towards your journey, so be it. That's all I have for you. So if it resonates, please comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever you feel called to. It will definitely help to grow my channel. Also, I do have an Instagram account. I do post a lot of readings there. I post more frequently there, and longer videos I usually don't. Whenever I feel strongly called towards it, I do, and today I did. So that's all I have for you. Take care. Bye bye.